The story begins with a boy sitting in his room watching cartoons on TV. Suddenly, the TV signal goes out, and an emergency report appears on the screen. This news takes away the boy's smile, as the TV announces that a highly toxic virus has spread worldwide, turning infected people into horrific zombies within minutes. This virus spreads rapidly, and the entire world has been engulfed by it. The TV anchor warns anyone listening to this news to quickly find a safe place. The boy is watching all this when suddenly, a strange sound comes from an upstairs room. The sound leaves the boy breathless. The boy slowly climbs the stairs with frightened steps and peeks into the room. Just then, her older sister suddenly appears and scares her. It was a joke. Relieved, they both go to their mother's room. There, they find their mother very upset, telling her husband about this terrifying situation on a video call. Their father, a pilot, warns them that he may not be able to return immediately, but they all must find a safe place and go there. On the screen, the father shows his children a lucky bracelet he wears. It turns out to be the bracelet his daughter Abigail made. Abigail is overjoyed and finds hope, but then they hear terrifying sounds of people shouting and screaming from outside. The mother immediately hangs up and starts gathering her things. Without wasting a moment, she takes her 2 children and runs out of the house. The 3 of them run towards their car. Just as they are about to open the car door and get in, a ferocious zombie suddenly attacks their mother. This happens so fast that no one has a chance to react. Terrified, little Abigail quickly hides under the car. She sees the zombie tearing her mother apart. Within moments, both her little brother and mother are killed by the zombie. Abigail remains huddled there, holding her breath. Luckily, the zombie doesn't see the little girl and walks away. This little girl is trembling with fear when she sees her mother's body begin to act strangely. Because of the virus, her mother has also become a zombie. The mother sees her own daughter under the car and rushes to her. Before she can kill her daughter, a stranger named Jack arrives, acting like a savior. Jack immediately shoots Abigail's zombie mother with his gun and pulls Abigail out from under the car. Then they see that Abigail's younger brother is also transforming into a zombie. Jack tells the girl to close her eyes and ears and shoots her younger brother, who has also become a zombie. Jack takes the lonely girl's hand and carries her away. Time passes, and now the scene unfolds 10 years later. Human civilization has been completely destroyed by the zombie virus. Cities that once shone with light are now desolate ruins. By now, almost all humans are either dead or wandering around as zombies. In this desolate world, Abigail has grown up. Since that day, Abigail has grown up under Jack's care. Jack has trained her and taught her how to fight zombies, use weapons, and defend herself. Abigail knows that if Jack hadn't come into her life that day, she would have died by now. That's why she considers Jack her father. After living alone in the wilderness for so many years, Abigail feels very lonely. Her greatest wish is to find a human settlement, where he can live in harmony with other people. But Jack doesn't like being around people at all. He thinks humans can be more dangerous than zombies. It's nighttime and they're camped out in the woods, sleeping. Suddenly, the sound of a dry branch snapping hot awakes Jack. He slowly picks up his gun and looks out of the camp. In the darkness, a zombie quickly attacks Jack, but Jack quickly retreats and shoots it repeatedly, killing it. Hearing the gunfire, Abigail arrives. The two have had enough experience hunting zombies in the woods for the past 10 years to know that zombies often live in packs. They understand that if one is here, there must be more nearby. Sensing danger, they quickly prepare to leave as soon as dawn breaks. They mount their horses and leave. They travel through the forest. As they are moving forward, their horses begin to neigh and hesitate. Jack realizes danger is near. They look around and see a jeep surrounded by zombies in the distance. There, a normal man is trying to save himself from a multitude of zombies. There are very few humans left in the world anyway, so they both had to save the man at all costs. Jack also wanted to test Abigail's marksmanship, so he tells Abigail that you will save this man. Jack wants to see if she is fully trained. Jack instructs her to aim at the target carefully and then shoot. Abigail raises her gun but fires hastily. The shot misses, and the bullet hits both the zombie and the survivor. Seeing this, Jack becomes very angry with Abigail. Then they both run to the man. They see that the man is no longer capable of survival due to the gunshot wound and the zombie attack. So instead of leaving him to suffer, Jack kills him himself so that if he is bitten by a zombie, he doesn't come back to life and pose a threat to them. They then search the dead man's car and belongings. Jack takes the dead man's shoes because his own shoes were torn. As soon as he puts them on, the dead man's companions arrive with weapons. Several armed men surround them. When one of them sees his dead companion's shoes on Jack's feet, they suspect that the two men killed their partner to steal the goods. The atmosphere becomes tense and they point guns at Jack and Abigail. Just as they start killing them, a pregnant woman named Megan gets out of one of the group's cars. She tells her companions to let them go because she thinks they're not bad people. Just then, Jack quickly snatches a gun from a girl and tries to explain that they didn't kill their man intentionally, they just wanted to save him from the zombies. Jack tells them they should get out of here immediately because this is a smart zombie. His companions must be coming here too, but then Jack's black horse starts neighing loudly again as a warning. The next moment, loud noises come from the distant forest. A huge herd of thousands of zombies is rushing towards them. The zombies attack so fast that no one has a chance to escape. Forced, the people stand still and begin fighting with weapons. Everyone has weapons, but the number of zombies is so great that the situation gets out of their control. Slowly, one by one, many members of the group fall victim to the zombie bites. Those who survive have no safe place to hide, and within a short time their numbers dwindle to a very small number. Meanwhile, a strong man is also infected by a zombie bite. Realizing the situation, he tries to shoot himself, but his gun is out of bullets. Then everyone realizes they won't be able to stand against the zombies. Now they know they won't be able to fight them. So Abigail takes the pregnant woman into the car. The pregnant woman's husband is also in the car, and Jack starts the car and quickly leaves. Only 4 people are left in the group. All the others have fallen prey to the zombies. A black-faced zombie becomes extremely angry after seeing his companions dead. Meanwhile, the 4 of them are traveling in the car, escaping the zombies. On the way, Jack asks the lady sitting behind him, "Who are you and what were you doing here?" Upon asking, he reveals that these survivors wanted to go to a place called Shiptown, where safe people live. They have all the necessary facilities there, and they all wanted to go there and live a normal life. Hearing this, Abigail is overjoyed because this is the place she's always wanted to go. Jack retorts, "There's no such colony here. I've been wandering around for the last 10 years. I haven't seen any." Suddenly, their car breaks down midway. Meanwhile, the pregnant lady's husband, David, comes out. He tells them, "I'm a mechanic and I can fix it." But due to a lack of tools, the car can't be fixed. That's why they leave their vehicles here and begin their journey on foot. After traveling several kilometers, they reach a deserted community where tall buildings still stand. But there's a deathly silence everywhere. They first thoroughly inspect the place. When they sense no danger, they decide to spend the night there. At night, they light a fire and cook. Abigail was eager to go to a place called Shiptown. She starts talking to the pregnant woman about it. The pregnant woman tells her that they've already made radio contact with the people living in Shiptown. It's a beautiful place where they can live freely. Abby's eyes light up hearing this. Meanwhile, Jack sets traps all around outside so that even if they fall asleep, they'll be immediately alerted to danger approaching. Jack comes in and takes out a map and explains to everyone that he will take Megan and David some distance away and then they will go their separate ways. But Abigail is unhappy with Jack's decision. She approaches him and argues that David won't be able to get his pregnant wife to that place safely, so we should go with them. Jack says we should act wisely. Look, where there are more people, there is more danger. But Abigail, upset with Jack's decision, leaves. However, neither of them knows that the black-faced zombie has sniffed their car and reached there. The next morning, Abigail is sitting on the roof looking at her childhood photos when suddenly she hears a rustling sound from the trees below. She realizes that zombies have entered and runs downstairs to warn everyone, but on the way, a zombie also chases her. Abigail tries to climb the stairs to save her life and uses all her strength to give the pursuing zombie a powerful push. The zombie is knocked down and falls. But in the scuffle, Abigail loses her balance and is about to fall, when Jack arrives just in time and grabs her hand and pulls her up. Meanwhile, outside, the black-faced zombie has arrived at the same place with his other companions, having followed the scent of their dead companion. But Jack's trap works. As the zombie horde tries to break in, a powerful explosion occurs, sending many zombies flying to pieces. Hearing the explosion, Jack realizes that staying there is inviting death, as the horde is now very close. Fortunately, they have already left by the time the explosion occurs. On the way, Abigail suddenly gets an idea. She tells Jack that there's an old airport nearby where her father used to work. She thinks there might be a plane left there, so they can fly directly to Shiptown. Jack finds this plan too risky. He clearly states that the airport is an open space, and if they crash there, there's no way to escape, and there's no guarantee that there will even be a plane there. But seeing Abigail's persistence and hope, Jack agrees. When they arrive at the airport, it's quiet and the runway is completely empty. Jack's words prove true. There's not a plane in sight, but their luck changes when they lift the shutter of an old closed garage. Inside was a small airplane. Everyone's eyes lit up at the sight, but the problem was that the plane had been idle for years. Mechanic David Foran checks the engine and says it will take him 10-15 minutes to restart it. Time was running short. David quickly grabs his tools and sets to work repairing the engine, while Jack and Abigail stand guard nearby. Just then, Jack looks through his binoculars and sees hundreds of zombies running madly toward them. He shouts, warning everyone that they're running out of time. They have to leave now. Without wasting a moment, Abigail jumps into the pilot's seat. Her father was a pilot, so she learned the cockpit controls as a child, and those vague memories will come in handy today. Outside, Jack fires a barrage of bullets from his gun to stop the monsters from approaching the plane. With trembling hands, Abigail starts the engine. The propeller spins, but the zombies have now reached the plane's door. One zombie even hangs on, but Jack shoots it down with a precise, and the plane takes off. As the plane takes off, everyone's faces breathe a sigh of relief. They feel that they are now safe, but this happiness proves to be short-lived. As the plane climbs a little, black smoke begins to billow from the engine, because the engine, which had been idle for 10 years, had given up. There's a blast in the engine and the plane begins a rapid descent. Jack uses his instincts and manages to steer the plane into the trees. It crashes, lands high up. The shock is tremendous. The plane is shattered, but fortunately no one is seriously injured. Now they have no choice but to continue on foot. They pick up their belongings and embark on an unknown journey. After walking for miles, they arrive at a deserted railway station where broken carriages are parked. It's night and darkness is all around. Jack scans the area and, satisfied that there's no danger, decides to spend the night there. They check the map and discover that Shiptown is now just 2 days' journey away. That very night, the pregnant lady Megan comes to Jack and thanks him. She says that if it weren't for you, we would have been dead long ago. Hearing her words, even the stone-hearted Jack begins to melt. He tells Megan the secret he's buried deep within him, which has made him so hard. He reveals that 10 years ago, when the virus broke out, his own wife was infected, and he had to shoot her with his own hands. That day, the human being in Jack died. But today, seeing Megan has given him a sense of purpose again. He promises to bring Megan safely to Shiptown. Meanwhile, in the darkness, another drama was unfolding. Megan's husband, David, was trying to commit suicide with his pistol to his head. In the chaos, a zombie had bitten him on the leg. Although the wound was small, the virus took its toll. David knew he would soon become a predator, but he didn't want to leave his wife alone. He decided that as long as he had life in his body, he would escort her to the Shiptown gate. Then he would kill himself. The next morning, when they started walking again, Jack's experienced eyes could not hide David's. Jack grabbed David and took him away from everyone's sight and pulled up his pants. He clearly saw the marks of a severe injury. Jack immediately pointed his gun at David's forehead and asked, "Would you rather die yourself or let me do my job?" David replied, "I won't harm anyone. I just want my wife safe. As soon as I feel myself losing myself, I'll shoot myself." Seeing the truth in David's eyes, Jack decides to give him a chance. The journey continues and night falls again. Then they see a house in the middle of the woods. It was strange to have this house there. Jack moves forward cautiously, gun drawn. As they approach the house, suddenly a bright spotlight falls on their eyes and a heavy voice echoes over the speakers. "Drop your weapons or you'll be riddled with bullets." Jack realizes there's a human inside. Abigail musters courage and comes forward shouting, "We're not here to hurt anyone. We just need help. There's a pregnant woman with us." Just then, the door opens, and a middle-aged man emerges. He introduces himself as a scientist and says, "You're safe here. Just leave your guns outside." Agreeing to the terms, they enter, where the man greets them warmly. The scientist explains that he hasn't left this place because it's easier for him to do research here. The scientist also serves everyone food. A variety of food was laid out on the dining table, food they hadn't seen in 10 years. Like hungry wolves, they pounced on the food. But during the conversation, the scientist begins to make some strange remarks. He says that this virus isn't actually bad. It's an upgrade for humans. He explains like a madman that the weak will perish and only the strong will rule as zombies. Hearing this, Jack and the others begin to panic. They realize this man is not normal. Then David's health begins to deteriorate. The virus is rapidly taking its toll. He goes to the bathroom and looks in the mirror. His veins have turned black and his eyes are bloodshot. He realizes his time is up. When he returns to the hall, he sees Jack, Abigail, and Megan lying unconscious on the couch. The scientist had spiked their drinks with a sedative. David angrily lunges at the scientist, but the scientist presses a button on the remote device. As soon as the button is pressed, David's body receives a powerful shock. He collapses helplessly to the ground. The scientist, with a devilish laugh, explains that he has spent years working to create a device that can control the minds of zombies. Now he no longer needs to fear zombies. Rather, he is their king. David's vision begins to darken. When he opens his eyes again, he finds himself and his companions tied up with ropes. It was a laboratory-like place. The scientist stands before them and says, "Now you will be part of my experiment." Then he asks them, "Would you like to meet my wife?" He points to a cage inside which a ferocious zombie woman was imprisoned. This was the wife of the same scientist on whom he had performed his crazy experiments. The scientist opens the cage door. His wife, transformed into a zombie, comes out growling and starts attacking the scientist, but the scientist presses a button. At his signal, the zombie woman begins moving toward the bound Jack and the others. The woman, transformed into a zombie, attacks Jack. Jack kicks her back. At that very moment, David's body is filled with the power of the virus, and he breaks his ropes in one fell swoop, freeing everyone. Seeing this, the scientist runs away in fear. Without wasting any time, the four of them escape, board the scientist's car, and flee. But the mad scientist uses his device to unleash an army of zombies. With the road ahead blocked, they have to abandon the car and flee on foot. David knew his end was near, so he swears to his wife and sends them ahead, and he himself confronts the zombies alone. He fights valiantly, but ultimately dies. They get a chance to escape, and Jack and Abigail, carrying Megan in their arms, run to the shore of Shiptown, a human settlement. The guards on the tower rescue them by firing at the zombies. A boat arrives for them, and they board it and safely enter. The black-faced zombie stops the other zombies because they couldn't cross the water. When they wake up the next morning, they see that the place has been built by joining several large ships. Jack doesn't like the crowded place. He tells Abigail that they must leave immediately, but Abigail flatly refuses. She doesn't want to give up the joy she's experienced being among people after so many years. This sparks a fierce father-daughter-like fight between the two. Jack senses danger, but Abigail fears for her life. Meanwhile, Megan gives birth to a baby girl. However, the doctor predicts she will die soon due to excessive bleeding. She hands her baby over to Jack. A few days later, Abigail sees the boy she likes going to a secret cabin. Once there, they discover that bombs are planted beneath the entire city, ready to be detonated in times of crisis. But trouble strikes just then, as the scientist controlling the Zombie King attacks. A multitude of zombies descend upon the city through the water and begin eating the people. Jack immediately begins searching for Abigail, killing the zombies to save her. Finally, he reaches Abigail. When the scientist attacks Abigail, Jack confronts the scientist and seizes the opportunity to break the control device on his hand. As soon as the power goes out, the zombies tear apart the scientist. In the chaos, everyone flees through the tunnel. The boy standing on the other side waits for Abigail and Jack to arrive so he can quickly blow up the city. While Abigail is running after Jack, the head zombie grabs Abigail, but Jack immediately attacks the head zombie. But Abigail notices the bracelet on his hand. The same bracelet she made herself as a child and gave to her father. She realizes that this zombie is her father, but Jack quickly pulls Abigail away. The boy presses the remote and blows up Shiptown, but the Zombie King rises from the ashes and approaches. Jack immediately begins to fight him fearlessly, but Jack begins to weaken. Seeing Jack in the jaws of death, Abigail immediately picks up a gun from the ground. She knew that the zombie standing in front of her was her own father, but she also saw that the zombie was killing the man who had raised her like a father for 10 years. So without a second thought, she forgets her past and shoots the Zombie King, and the story ends there.